Introducing a new podcast. Karen Hunter is awesome.
If you like me on SiriusXM Urban View Channel 126, you're gonna love me. And Karen Hunter is awesome. Hey, this is Karen Hunter, host of the Karen Hunter Show on SiriusXM's Urban View. Karen Hunter is awesome is an actual podcast to bring heat and energy and knowledge and power. A 1-2 punch that I don't think you get anyplace else. Tell the truth. So check out the podcast wherever you get your podcast. You will not be disappointed.
Karen Hunter is awesome. A new podcast from Karen Hunter.
Sky isn't falling, but it is. If it's falling on you, you don't care if it's not falling on me. You know what I'm saying? Like for people who are in the crosshairs of this administration, it feels horrible. They just signed an executive order allowing people to go into churches now. Churches and schools to arrest people who are here illegally. Migrants, the illegals, they can now go into schools and churches. Imagine being in church and having ICE come in and snatch you up out of your pew off your knees. This is where we are right now. And I don't want to, overstate it or, because we were talking this talk for the last 3 years of the possibilities, and it's here now. And I'm not happy about it. But we're going to talk about it and also provide solutions. So we're going to be doing a lot of that on the show. And unfortunately, it's a lot of work, but it requires something of you too. It's not just a matter of listening to us. Again, get involved. You live somewhere. What is happening in your community that you can do to make it a little bit better? And maybe the immigration thing, you're good. You're happy that people are being snatched up. But how does that, so, to the people in the job that, Don alluded to somebody on the job snitching on you if you're a DEI and calling the administration, because people are going to do that. Your coworkers, your evil ass coworkers who don't like you smiling your face anyway, will be alerting the authorities because for them, with you out of the way, they don't have to, first of all, look at your black ass, but they also may feel like I have an opportunity to move up the ranks because let's be real. It's hard to compete with somebody who is showing up doing a job of 3 people. Real hard. And even though those people aren't getting promoted, it makes you look bad. And we're in a nation where people don't want to look bad, but they also don't want to work. So, and you say you can't have your cake and eat it too. Well, here's the cake and they're eating it. Oh, this is unfair. Okay. Welcome to life. And life in 2025 looks very unfair. He pardoned militia. He pardoned the people that he sent to the Capitol to storm the Capitol. They got arrested. Many of them went to jail. He let them out. He just let them out. And it's wild to me. And I'm saying, I was thinking about this. The law doesn't make things right and wrong. Your character does. So the fact is, those people knew that they were doing something. And those of them that didn't know, that they thought they were doing something great when they found out. There's one lady, they call her MAGA Granny or Granny MAGA. She rejected the pardon. She served jail time for taking part in the Capitol riots 4 years ago. She refused a pardon from Donald Trump. She said, we were wrong that day. Her name is Pamela Hemphill. She pled guilty, was sentenced to 60 days in prison. She told the press, accepting a pardon would only insult the Capitol police officers. It would insult rule of law and, of course, our nation. I pled guilty because I was guilty, and accepting a pardon also would serve to contribute to their gaslighting and false narrative. This lady had an awakening. Her character showed up. And I hear some of us say, well, we should do this and that because they get away with it. Some of you tell your children, oh, well, so-and-so got it. Well, you go ahead and do that too. No, if it's wrong, it's wrong. And shout out to this lady because she was absolutely wrong. And she said it. She said, we were wrong that day. We broke the law. There should be no pardon. She's absolutely right. The fact that we have a felon in the office who has no character and no moral compass shouldn't mean that it gives us the license to not have it either. Just the opposite. Now's the time that we double down on what's right. And I'm not saying in this kind of weak ass way, the Lord will provide and we're just going to be. No, not that. We do it righteously and bodaciously, and that's not one of the words on the list today. Let me see if bodacious is on here. Bodacious is not on the 100 words that we need to know. Let me pick a word since I'm in word mode right now. Yesterday was obtuse. Let's do obfuscate. I do use that word. Obfuscate and obfuscation. I love it. O-B-F-U, I like the F-U in the middle of that. S-C-A-T-E, obfuscate. To make unclear, confusing. We are in a time of confusion. Things are going to be obfuscated a lot. But we have to be a beacon of right and truth. So we're going to do that. And shout out to Bishop Marianne Edgar. How do you say that, Smiz? Booty? B-U-D-D-E, Bude. I don't know how to pronounce your name, Bishop Bude, but I'm going to say it like that. 65 years old, the first woman to serve as the spiritual leader of the Episcopal Diocese of Washington. She gave the inaugural prayer. She presided over the inaugural prayer, which was going to happen no matter who won at St. John's Episcopal Church in Minneapolis. I'm sorry, that's where she spent 2 decades. She's an alum of the University of Rochester upstate. She grew up in Jersey and in Colorado, all of this stuff. But yesterday, she presided over the inaugural prayer service in D.C. and at the Episcopal Diocese. And the images of Trump, because again, you don't got to follow all of this to see it. He's sitting there next to Melania and then J.D. Vance, and behind him are his children. They are so unengaged with this spiritual, very somber prayer service. It's as if the demons in them were so uncomfortable, and you could see it. And at some point, Melania's laughing, and I know nothing was funny. I know it was a very somber event, but this bishop, she got up on she was in the pulpit overlooking them. It was beautiful, the image. And Smith, play what she had to say directly to this man.
Let me make one final plea, Mr. President. Millions have put their trust in you. And as you told the nation yesterday, you have felt the providential hand of a loving God. In the name of our God, I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now. There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families, some who fear for their lives. And the people who pick our crops and clean our office buildings, who labor in poultry farms and meatpacking plants, who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals, they may not be citizens or have the proper documentation. But the vast majority of immigrants are not criminals. They pay taxes and are good neighbors. They are faithful members of our churches and mosques, synagogues, wadara, and temples. I ask you to have mercy, Mr. President, on those in our communities whose children fear that their parents will be taken away, and that you help those who are fleeing war zones and persecution in their own lands to find compassion and welcome here. Our God teaches us that we are to be merciful to the stranger, for we were all once strangers in this land. May God grant us the strength and courage to honor the dignity of every human being, to speak the truth to one another in love, and walk humbly with each other and our God for the good of all people in this nation and the world.
Amen. During this whole thing, Fotis was dozing off. As I mentioned, Melania and J.D. Vance were laughing. And afterwards, I think he said something to the effect that it was boring. And maybe it was boring, but you have no decorum and you have no center. She wrote, this Bishop Bude, B-U-D-D-E, or Bude, or Bude. I don't know how to say it. In 2020, she wrote in the New York Times, she wrote an op-ed that she was outraged and horrified when Fotis used the Bible. Remember the upside down Bible when he walked to St. John's Church after they tear gassed protesters on the summer of George Floyd in Lafayette Square, and he cleared the area out using the National Guard and held that Bible upside down. She wrote that he used a sacred symbol while espousing positions antithetical to that Bible. On Tuesday, the message, she said, I was trying to say, the country has been entrusted to you. She said, and one of the qualities of a leader is mercy. She won't find that there. And I think she knew that. But here's the thing. I know people are like, well, why say anything? Why would Dave Chappelle send a message? It's not going to matter. That message is not for him and his evil minions and the lower demons that are in his family and that are going to be, maybe president soon or whatever. It's for us to remind us that collectively our voices matter. And when we show up, things matter. I saw someone in Nubia say these aren't the times of Paulie Murray and Spotswood Robinson when they could actually get things done. We have a completely co-opted federal government and court system and Congress, and everything is co-opted. You're right. But does that mean we don't try? You don't know what can happen. I know a constant drip on any hard surface, a constant drip of water can erode through a piece of wood. Our job is to drip.
Introducing a new podcast. Karen Hunter is awesome.
If you like me on SiriusXM Urban View Channel 126, you're going to love me. And Karen Hunter is awesome. Hey, this is Karen Hunter, host of The Karen Hunter Show on SiriusXM's Urban View. Karen Hunter is awesome is an actual podcast to bring heat and energy and knowledge and power. A 1-2 punch that I don't think you get anyplace else. Tell the truth. So check out the podcast wherever you get your podcast. You will not be disappointed.
Karen Hunter is awesome. A new podcast from Karen Hunter.